All right, everybody, away we go. Welcome to the call today. It is Friday of September 29th, 2017. This is the TRC sales training call. I'm excited to do it. I will say I want to make a very, very strong recommendation for a book written by a guy by the name of Jeb Blount. I hope I pronounce it right, but Fanatical Prospecting. I'm listening to the audio book, and I really like it. It's in line with everything that I believe, or most things I believe, about prospecting in the way that I understand prospecting, which is selling. And most salespeople will say something, and I want to put this right on the table early and often. Most people that are salespeople are not perfectly ready every day to go out there and be all enthusiastic about selling. In fact, all of us have some fear of selling, even if we're really good at it. And whether that's a reluctance that creeps up or it's just, ingrained in us, we have phone fear. And I want to cut straight to the chase today about phones. We live in an age where social selling is certainly part of the landscape these days. Texting, emailing, they've all become very important parts of business, but not the most critical. The most critical part of prospecting, meaning filling up your sales pipeline. I want you to understand that prospecting is a sales activity. It's just the filling up of that pipeline, calling your past clients, calling your sphere of influence, all the way to calling leads where they don't know anything about you. Those are all prospecting activities, door knocking, etc. But the fastest way and the most highly leveraged way to create prospects for your sales funnel is the phone. Still has always been and still is the number one tool to build out a sales pipeline. You have to learn how to pick up the phone and get beyond the anxiety that you have. Now, once we get beyond that and we understand that the best practice, I was just talking to my good friend Brian Wheeler, who has to deal now with Naples, all in array. And I said, the best practice that you can follow right now is to pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. That's the most important thing you do. And you call whom? Well, there's all sorts of low-hanging fruit in our business. There are expireds who may or may not be willing to sell again, but they're there. You have to exhaust them all. There are people where somebody's died, probate leads, okay? There are open houses that you can do and get people to come through, sign a register, and then follow up via the phone to see if you can service them. So the phone should be a key part of your business model every single day that you go to work, okay? Phone. And that includes when somebody's a lead, you don't know anything about them, where they become a real prospect, where there's an opportunity for conversation to become a client where a sale happens, okay? That's your whole pipeline. And everywhere in there, there's phone work. Don't discount also that the greatest opportunity for sale is the client you already have. If you have a listing that's getting a little bit stale, pick up the phone, book a meeting, change the price, change something, make something move. That's the key, okay? So when we go into the call today, I want to just keep that in mind. I am going to be pushing a conversation where we are training you to be more direct. And that means that when you hear a no, to not wilt like a shrinking violet, or worse, use it as an excuse to say to your team leader or yourself or your company owner, yeah, I made my calls today. Baloney. If you didn't get on that phone and you weren't direct and you weren't consistent in trying to get them to give you an outcome, meaning you have either booked a phone or in-house presentation, you have created a prospect for longer-term follow-up where that might be the case, and or you have created trash and you get them out of there, okay? The worst thing you can have in your pipeline is dead wood. Get it out. If people aren't going to give you an opportunity, don't leave things nebulous, okay? A lot of names or contacts inside your pipeline is not a good thing. I'll say it again. A lot of names, and let me qualify it, that are not quality. And in fact, if you don't know where every contact stands once they become a prospect, it's nebulous. You need to get after calling the people you've talked to before and be more direct. That'd be a good place to start. All right. Now, I did tell Patrick Cantu when I opened up the Patrick from Cantu. Sorry, the Patrick Dwyer, that I would go right after one of his ISAs and role play. So I'm going to open up the lines. Remember, *6 mutes your microphone if you're internally here with us. If you're online, welcome. Let's get after this. Patrick, you there with me, buddy?
Yes, sir.
All right, Patrick, who do we have from your team?
We have Sam.
Sam, I am. Are you there? No, Sam? Sam from Cantu.
Come on, Sam. Where are you?
Come on, Sam.
Hit star 7.
Yeah.
If you're muted.
Yeah, star 6 mutes your mic, star 7 unmutes it. Sam ran.
Alright, well, maybe she's having trouble getting on. I'm Skyping with her right now trying to figure it
Yeah,
out. If you guys want to move on,
yeah, all good.
come back later.
I'll go back to it. All right, somebody get in the hot seat with me, and I'll let you beat me up first. Let's role play a little bit. Somebody come after me because I want to talk about the phones today. I want to deal with that. Somebody give me who wants to role play with me, and you can beat me up. Give me someone. I need a volunteer.
Hi, Danny. Can I jump in?
Yeah, my man. See? Good move, buddy. Oh, Chris Kleber, I just saw a message.
Okay.
Hold on, Chris Kleber, I saw a message from you that you can't wait to do it next. Thank you for volunteering. Kleber, you're the best. All right, so David, go ahead, buddy. Let's role play. You want to beat me up? And you give me a context
Actually,
what
no,
you
I
want.
you to beat me up.
Okay, perfect. I love it. So, by the way, in full disclosure, David works with the Griffin Realty Group. He is a brand new inside sales agent who is going to be very much in charge of pursuing expireds and probates. And we have had some very specific conversation, and including my veteran ISA, Laura, whose role has morphed into much more longer-term follow-up with prospects. So it's an easier part of the pipeline because you don't have to get so much energy when prospects are nice to you, right, David? Isn't that what we said yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to prepare for when they're not nice. All right. So let's get after David. I'm going to beat you up, and you want to call me in what context?
Probate. 'Cause
Probate.
I'll be doing probate for the first time today, so I might as well,
Yep.
if I'm going to hear something, might as well come in from you.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So, all right. Go. Call me. Give me a buzz here. Here we go.
Okay, ring ring.
Hello.
Hi, Danny.
Speaking.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is David from the Griffin Realty Group. And the reason I'm calling is because you're the personal representative for the estate of David Griffin. And I just want to let you know that we sent you a gift in the mail.
Okay. What do you mean a gift?
Well, it's a helpful guide that we send out to people who are in probate situations, especially if there is real estate involved. Well, in this case, is there real estate for the situation?
There is not.
Oh, there's none. Okay, well, that's good to hear. Actually, it's simpler. It's a simpler process for you because normally, 80% of an estate's worth is tied up in real estate. So it's going to be a lot easier for you. But if ever you might know people who are in the situation, that booklet that we sent to you might come in helpful for them.
Okay. All right. Good stop. Not bad. Not bad. I gave you a dead end and you didn't take it. I like it. That's a good start. I really dead-ended it because I'm thinking
it wasn't real estate anymore.
Yeah, that's right. It's no longer real estate. And again, with your background as a concierge desk representative for all those years, it doesn't surprise me that you continued to add value. And I like that. That's a good footprint for the brand. And I appreciate that you did that. So that was good. Having said that now, let's imagine you, because we're going to, after this, we're going to grab Lee Stillwell and his team, and we're going to sit down and we're going to go through exactly how they do this, because there is sort of a machine to this too, which sounds ugly when we first say it, but the truth be told, this is a machine. We are manufacturing prospects, right? And so you don't want to waste too much time on a phone, but you still want to leave that, leave that footprint, right? So I think that's the key.
Yeah.
So as we go
Actually,
into
what
that,
I said,
yeah, go ahead, come on.
sorry. Yeah, what I was trying to say during the latter part, when I know that there is no longer any real estate involved for that particular person, and we already sent something, so might as well make use of it.
Yes.
So that's why I was saying, if they know someone who might find it useful, then they can just give it away.
Okay.
Who knows, it might come to the right hands.
That's right. So let's go a little bit further. We'll flip-flop that, and I'm talking to you. Hi, David. It's Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. I noticed that you are the personal representative on a probate and estate situation. So what I did is I sent you out some free information that'll help you with the real estate if there is any involved. Is there a piece of real estate that you have to deal with?
Yeah, actually there is.
Okay. So what I've sent you in the mail, there's a couple of phases to dealing with this. usually, in my experience, I find that the first thing that's difficult for the representative is an evaluation process for estate purposes. And then, of course, if nobody's living in the property or it's something that you have no idea what exists, the guidance on how to secure the property. So those are the two first beats. Is this something you're familiar with, this piece of property?
No, actually, I've never heard of that before. What do you mean by phase one?
Yeah, well, phase one, we have a strategic approach. That's what makes us unique. So what I've gifted you is I've sent you the outline of that strategy. It's similar to what we do for real estate in any situation, but given the unique fact that you may not know anything about it, and it needs evaluation in a different way. See, there's market valuation, David, but there's also reasons to evaluate this for estate purposes. I don't know how many heirs there are, but again, it's a drag with everything that goes on when somebody passes. And what we're showing you is it's actually pretty easy for us to give you a quick as-is evaluation for estate purposes. It's free. It's no obligation. So that would be part of the first phase. And then, and of course, to do that properly, we'd want to access the property. So whether somebody's living in there or not, we would add that next layer of phase one, which is to secure the property. So for example, if I go out there and look at it and it's in disrepair and it, there's squatters in there, if somebody's living in there, not paying any, whatever the case may be, we can help with that too. So phase one is just to secure it and give you a quick value. Now down the line, most of the time, people that are in your situation decide to sell the property. So phase two is actually the process that we would take all of our sellers through strategically to get top dollar, no matter what their circumstances. Does that make sense?
That sounds good, yeah.
Okay, great. So what I've done is I've sent that out to you. You'll be able to digest that. But while I have you, is this something that you would like me to take a drive by or go look at or get access to? Is there a situation where you need immediate help with this?
Well, I don't know. To be honest, I haven't seen the place. It was my grandfather, so last time I was there was years ago.
Okay.
So I really don't know, but yeah, maybe one of these days I drop by there and I'll let you know.
Okay, do you live out of town, David? Is this something that you're close by?
No, I'm actually out of state.
Okay.
So I'm not saying to be there anytime in the next few weeks, but maybe next month.
No problem. Well, I'll tell you what, in the meantime, this is where I cover this entire area. As a courtesy, I'll put it a note to just drive by it and make sure it's not completely in disrepair or there's a problem, and I'll report back to you. What that'll do...
You do that?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. And what you'll be able to do is digest the information I gave you. You'll be able to see it in its physical form, what the strategy is. You worry about taking care of the rest of the estate. You let me worry about this, and I'll be back to you.
Okay, well, that sounds awfully nice of you.
Yeah.
Are you sure this is free?
No, it's free. It's absolutely free. It's no obligation. We cover this area, David. It's what we do. We have a very strategic approach to listing properties that we execute in this area on a regular basis. Really, I'm telling you, I'll probably drive by it by accident about 4 times. So if I'm intentional, I can go by and take a look at it for you, right?
Okay, well, that sounds good to me, Danny.
Great, super. All right, now let's go backwards and let's resist me a little bit more, okay? So when I start to make the offer to give you an estate value, throw more questions. I liked what you said. What do you mean? What do you mean by phases, right? And then we'll get really harsh at the end, where you could call me an ambulance chaser or something like that, right? So we'll keep going up in the level of difficulty, and you can punch me in the face as hard as you want with the last one, all right? So the next level is medium. And the medium is, resist me a little bit. Challenge me on value. Why is this? And by the way, I wanted to give you I was going to call you earlier after I was listening to this. One of the greatest things that I learned in Robert Cialdini's book called Influence, David, is the power of the word because, right? And for some reason, see, we have to give them a reason why this benefits them. I'm interrupting your life. I'm coming into your world. And what I'm saying to you is, look, I can add value. And you're emotional. You're upset. I'm interrupting you. Sales is an interruption, right? If you're trying to get business from somebody, well, I don't even want to call it a sale yet, because prospecting is the creation of somebody with his potential for sale. And that is absolutely the first step in successful selling, building out that cache of prospects. It's everything. And we've got to cut to the chase, and we have to weed through all of this noise to find those few people, right? So remember what we're doing here. I need this outcome. So now you played a little bit smooth and easy. Let's ramp it up, because what we know about probates, there's probably some emotion. And what we do know is that there's going to be people that swear at us, that yell at us, that hang up on us. Hang-ups are tough. There's not much you can do. I would let the information go, get there, and then I'd give it a week and come back, or 5 days, whatever. Let the information arrive. But let's go to medium, okay? So here we go again. Hello, is David there, please?
Yes, speaking.
David, this is Danny Griffin calling from the Griffin Realty Group. Pardon the interruption, but I noticed that you were the executor on an estate, and I sent you out some free information in case there's any property to sell and that you have to deal with it during this difficult time. So is there anything that you have to deal?
Danny?
Yeah.
Sorry, you know what? This is probably not a good time.
Okay.
We just experienced a death in the family, and right now people just don't want to think about things like this,
There's no doubt, and I'm very empathetic to that. But to bring the stress level down so you can focus on family, just be cognizant that what will be coming in the mail is a strategy so you don't have to think about this. And part of that phase one is that we are here on demand as a free community service for these situations to evaluate the situation. So I don't want to interrupt you any further, but I want to make you fully aware you'll need this, whether it's me or somebody else, if there's property to evaluate and then subsequently perhaps dispose of or sell. That's coming to you, okay? So take a look out for that. And what I'll do is I'll follow up.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good, but I've been getting a lot of phone calls from other people. I mean, you sound pleasant, but really, it's just been a lot to digest lately. And
of course,
you're not the first person. I think you're probably the seventh person to call me just today.
I guarantee you I'm the only person. David, I guarantee you.
How is it going to be any different?
Yeah, I guarantee you I'm the only person that sent you some helpful information. I'm not here to tell you I'm going to pay cash for the house and close in a week. I'm not here to tell you that I have a magical buyer for you. I'm here to tell you I empathize with your problem and your situation. And what I've done to help you alleviate that pain is to give you some guidance on the real estate side. You'll need it. And I guarantee you, of all the calls you got or you'll get, nobody sent something like that. You'll see when it comes in the mail, it's different. And we know what we're doing. So pardon the interruption, as I said. When that comes, you take a look at that, and I'll follow up later on when you really need to know what's going on with that real estate. That sound okay?
Yeah, it's fine, but just not to waste your time. It probably won't be in the next couple of months.
Not a problem. You get that information. All my contact information is there, and as you're weeding through all this, we'll be happy to add any other information that you'll need for state purposes. In that first 2 months, I'm sure you have a competent probate attorney that you're dealing with. They'll most likely need a quick evaluation of the property. We'll give that to you for free. It's no obligation, but you'll definitely need it so you can figure out what the as-is value of that property is right now. So when that comes up over the next 2 months, we'll be there.
Oh, okay. I'll look it up.
Excellent. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it, and sorry for your loss.
All right. Thank you, Daddy.
Okay.
Goodbye.
All right, here we go. Ratchet it up. One more. Get mad, get upset, do whatever you want. Hello, is David there, please?
Yeah, why are you calling?
It's Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. I noticed, David, that, pardon the interruption, by the way.
What,
but
sorry?
Yep.
Realty?
Yep, Griffin Realty Group.
What do you want?
Yep, you're a probate executor. Just want to let you know something's coming in the mail to help you get through that situation. That's all.
What do you mean I'm in a situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom died.
Yes. So
what are you trying to tell me?
So what we're trying to see is if there's any real estate involved, you'll need the guidance that we just sent you for estate purposes.
You're probably the 15th guy to call me about real estate, and I'm so sick of it.
Yeah, I'm sure, and I can't.
You're calling me at this time. This time wherein my family's leaving, and I don't appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, you won't appreciate me or the rest of the noise, but you will appreciate what I sent you. It'll help you. I get it. I get you're upset right now. You take a look at that information I sent you, and if it's helpful to you, you'll know where to find me, and you'll know I'm different from the rest of the pack. So pardon the interruption. I'm sorry for the loss, but we're here for people that are in this tough situation. And I'm not a shrinking violet, so I feel your pain, but you need this information. So take it. It's free, and it's on its way, okay?
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Great. That's it. I'm not going to try to do too much with a situation like that, right? Because if he's going to be really that upset, it's going to border on argumentative. But you notice I'm not going to pull the punch. I'm not going to soften. He needs that information. I'm certain of it. Unless, of course, there's no property to sell, he needs that information. Unequivocally, yes. You're not going to get around that, right? So I think it becomes very important to push through those moments. And what happens is, physically, we change in that moment when we hear anger, when we hear frustration. We change. Something inside of us gets really nervous. Our heart beats. All the chemicals in the brain start to discombobulate, and we have a problem, don't we? Right?
Yeah.
We have a problem. So here we go. Let's flip-flop it, and let's come at you. I'm not going to go that harsh because you'll get it. When you get there, David, you know what my expectations as the owner of Griffin Realty Group is. I want prospects. We said it yesterday. What are the 3 outcomes I want so everybody hears what we trained on personally? What do I want from you? What service am I buying from you?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, tell me. Tell everybody. There's 3 outcomes. What did we discuss?
Okay, first one is to get you that appointment or at least a phone consultation.
Okay.
If not that, then the second tier would be to move them into a prospect, from a lead to a prospect. So basically someone we can follow up with in the next couple of weeks or months.
Yep.
Okay, and the third one, and this is still essential, knowing when the person is trash.
Yep.
I'm not saying that they're trash per se, but when the lead is trash, when
Yes.
it doesn't require time from us anymore.
Okay, so how do you know when it's trash, when the lead is or there's no opportunity for a prospect? How do you know that?
Well, either if there is no real estate involved to begin with, I'd still consider it trash. Second would be if they, without a doubt, will not work with us.
And how do you, there's what I'm after. How do you know they won't work with us? Because most people make this presumption. As soon as they hear a no, it's almost a relief. I got a no. I did my job. I picked up the phone. I prospected. I got punched in the nose with a no. Danny, I got a no today. They said no. Well, what kind of a no did you get? Because people are conditioned to say no. That's their conditioning. Nobody wants to be aggressively sold anything. But there's a difference between being sold something you don't need and being sold on something you need, right? So if you're an expired listing, I don't care whether you go with Griffin Realty Group or you go with another person, but you need better information about the process. You need better strategy. You need a harder conversation, most likely, about how to price it right. You need those things, right? So whether you want to hear from me today or not, you need those things. And so what I'm saying is, internally, before that call ever happens, I have to stop worrying about whether I'm pleasing them with my tone. Rather, I know they're wounded. I know there's a problem, and I know what they need as an expert in this. I've been through it hundreds of times. Now, if you're a rookie, you have to act as if you're already a veteran. You have to be adamantly there. Well, like, let's play the expired where you say, I'm not going to relist, okay? Ring, is David there, please?
Yes, speaking.
David, it's Danny Griffin from Griffin Realty Group. The reason I'm calling, I saw that you expired. I'm sure you're getting a bunch of calls, but I want to let you know that I put something in the mail that'll help you take a look at the strategic approach or lack thereof that you guys had. So that's on its way. Were you thinking about relisting that property?
Well, I appreciate what you said, Danny, but I'm not looking to this anymore.
Okay.
Sorry.
You, at all? Down the road?
Well, you know what? It was a very frustrating process. Getting the home prepared, all of that. Having it in the market for a year and not, getting it sold. I don't even want to think about it anymore.
I I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But let me just tell you right off the bat, if you were on the market for a year in this marketplace, you had the wrong strategy. And I'm not trying to hurt the other agent, but that's just crazy. That doesn't sound right to me at all. I'm not saying that I sell every one of them I list because it has a lot to do with the reason for selling. So go back. What I would recommend right now, you go back to the main reason you were selling, which was why. Why did you try to sell it before, David?
Well, I had a dream, to move somewhere else. Actually, I wanted to move to Boston.
Awesome. And so what happened there? I mean, did you have to buy something up there? Were you going to rent? I mean, I hate to hear your dreams get crushed. That's awful.
Yeah, I was looking to sell my home here so I could afford to rent there first before finding a home. Things that are more expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, it was always my childhood dream to live in a big city like Boston.
So David, when it came down to the price of the property over a year, were there showings? Were there offers?
There were some at first. In the beginning, I was getting maybe 3 or 4 in a week.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this guy is good.
Yeah.
But somewhere along the line, people were starting to lowball me, after the second and the third month.
Okay.
And
Right, so
keep on doing that, I'm not going to be able to afford anything in Boston, right?
yeah. All right. Well, there you go. See, there's the problem. Everybody's trying to do on Cape Cod, get a certain number. The market will bear what the market's going to bear. Now, there is a way to avoid lowballing, and that has to do with the strategic approach that we take. We can tighten up that range. But see, the challenge is you're doing math based on what you believe happens in Boston. So first of all, did you look at the rental numbers up there, or was it more so you were saying, I need X to buy something up there? Which was it? Because rental, that's pretty easy.
It was the latter.
Okay. So in other words, you were worried about not being able to walk away with enough in your hands to buy something in Boston. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be sure.
Okay. So did the agent ever give you a list of what's actually sold in Boston and at what price? Did that ever happen?
Well, come to think of it, no.
Okay, so here's the major issue. When anybody's moving, in my experience, what I find, they need to see the whole mathematical equation. Number one, on the front end, they need a realistic conversation about what the property could sell for on Cape Cod. Right? It's a difficult market here. It is not the same as Boston, as you found out. So what we need to do is sit down and analyze what price range you were in. It sounds like you were inside the range. That's the good news. The evidence is at least somebody came, at least somebody was bold enough to make a low ball. That needs a relook to see what's happening. But there are 6 other steps to this process too that need to be considered. That's phase number 1. But as part of phase number 1, pricing it right and getting a guesstimate, at least, of what you would walk away with net is the first piece of the mathematical equation. The second is to say, okay, if I was at the low end of this and I netted the lowest possible, could it buy me anything that I could accept in Boston? Now, Boston's a whole loaded question there too. Have you really specifically zeroed in on an area? Because the prices up there can vary dramatically within about a 15 to 20 minute drive. Do you have an area up there?
Well, to be honest, no. I mean, all of this that you're telling me right now, it's actually a lot to process. I'm not very good with numbers, and it was never presented to me that way.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's the good.
A lot of information.
Here's the good news. I'm good at simple math. I'm no mathematical genius either, David. Okay, but what I will tell you is it's easy to show you and assess what you could walk away with, and it could buy. That's it. You don't need any more math than that right now. So, what I'd like to do is at the very least, you give me some parameters on what you were thinking you'd like to do in Boston. Let me grab a quick list digitally, email it over to you. You take a look at what the money could buy. I'll call you back and say, do you see anything in there that you could live in? And then what I can do is take a harder look at what went wrong on the front end. But you need to look at the back end first because you're trying to get a certain amount by guessing on the front end. That's no good. I can eliminate the guessing. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
You know what? If you're going to send me stuff, I do have some buddies at Charlestown, so yeah, just send me what you have.
Okay, perfect.
And then I'll try to process them when I can.
You bet. It's on its way today. You take a look out for it, and we'll follow up to make sure, number one, it came through, and then I'll call you to explain it, okay?
Oh, it sounds good, Danny.
Excellent. So now I've achieved a very clear outcome in that case, right? As much as you look, see what was the real resistance? The real resistance wasn't a real no. It was, I'm frustrated, and my only expectation is to get this sold, I have to go through that exact same thing again. Because I had a perception going in what this process would be like. It didn't happen like that. I'm exasperated by what did happen, and there's no way I could do it again. So I want you to listen to me above and beyond all the other people calling you, because I'll guarantee you I'm the only one with a strategic approach that will be able to identify the problems. So all I'm looking for is a meeting to give you more clarity on what you don't have clarity on right now. That's all I'm looking for. I don't want more than that. So grant me a few minutes to send this to you, call you back, go over it, and then I'm going to ask the next call to come over to your house to assess the situation. And I'm going to do that by giving a second gift. The first gift is that the home seller course is coming to you to explain why you expired. The second gift is a list of solds in Boston that shows you what the money just bought over the last 90 days. So now you have two gifts from me. And what I'm looking for is that the law of reciprocity kicks in and you allow me to come to your house to look at that situation there. That make sense?
Yeah, clearly, very.
But you have a need. And I know what your need is, whether you want to hear it or not. In fact, I feel bad for you. You actually have no idea, even though you went through the process for a year, how this business really works. See, that's the key that Michael Gerber talks about all the time. The key is, from a confidence standpoint, to understand how this business really works. And that means, what I mean by that, how does a house really get sold? Well, there's a process to it, right? Isn't there? There's a process. And I'm going to take you through that process. I know that process. And I'm getting very aggressive on the call here today with my tone, because I think what you're all missing is that you're coming into this too concierge. It doesn't mean, like, I never sounded mean, did I? Today in this role play with you for the first half hour?
You never did. You were very direct. You were putting your foot in the door, but it wasn't mean. It wasn't, it wasn't forceful.
Even when you were mad at me, when we launched that level, I matched you. You said, well, wait a minute. I just sent you this free info. I get it. It's a terrible time, but you're going to need this. If there's real estate to sell and you tell me there is, you need this thing. So you know what? I'm gone, but it's in the mail. You take a look and I'll follow up down the road. I'm going to tell you I'm going to follow up. I'm not even going to wait. I'm going to tell you I'm going to follow up because your emotions are so heightened. You need that's what you need. Now, I can't give it to you because somebody just died, right? I know you're mad. You know why you're mad? 16 different investors called you and said, I got a cold, I'm going to come in here with cash and we'll buy this thing as is. We'll bring you money. Because the chances are that there is somebody who's running an estate that can't wait to get their hands on the money. And a lot of times nobody wants that aggravation. What I'm saying is, whoa. I'm not one of them. Don't lump me in to those people. I know everybody called you on your expired listing. Yeah, I hear that from you guys all the time in this group. But everybody's calling expireds. No, not everybody, because you're not. How about that? And when you call them up, all you have to do is think for a heartbeat. What do they need? They need better guidance than the guidance that they got. Or even if they got the right guidance, somebody didn't have the spine to tell them their price is wrong. Somebody didn't have the spine to tell them that the feedback was terrible. Somebody wimped out on that situation or the strategy was bad. That's what they need. That's my experience in every expired situation. So if you're not going to be the person that does that, somebody else will. And this applies to everything. Every kind of lead, prospect, or everything where there's pushback. The people that do the best in this business have learned to not take rejection. First of all, not take it until it's a real rejection. You'll know a real rejection. Now, in that third one, David, there wasn't much more I could do with you without really pissing you off, right? You were going to get really mad if I argued with you. So matching you and your intensity is one thing. Arguing with you is another. Hey, David, I get it. You don't have to shoot me. I just wanted to send you this info. You'll need it. It's there, and obviously right now is not the right time, but keep it. It's good stuff. I'll follow up down the line to see if there's any opportunity for me to help you further. Period. Get out of there. Even if he says, don't ever call me again. Okay, no problem. Maybe then, only then, and probably not, I'd still take one more bite at the apple, because what I'd say to myself is, wow, he's emotionally distraught. That sucks. This guy just lost his mother. He's emotionally distraught. I'll probably give this one a little bit of a longer beat, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it is. And I'll call back and I'll try one more time and say, hey, look, and I'm sure the calls have died down. I'm just hoping you got that information and that you found it helpful, right? Is there anything else I can do to help you get evaluation? Again, another gift. Again, I'd like to send you out, or you could even be aggressive and say, hey, you know what, I was thinking about it. So what I did was, after I sent you that course, I figured you'd probably need to see what sells around it. It's not a full-blown analysis of the property value, but you'll need it for estate purposes. Or, David, if you want to rely on your concierge background, you get with Laura and you get with Serena and you guys knock out a CMA that actually has the technical analysis and the range, and we send that out to support it, right? Until they really tell you, dude, if you keep calling me, I'm going to call the police, right?
Yeah.
You have to go to that extreme to get beyond this. All right, good work. Any questions?
Yeah,
Hey, guys, we have live mics. I just had to mute somebody.
Yeah,
Yep. All right, Patrick, you there, buddy?
Yeah, good, Danny.
Yeah, good work. And get on there and go after these things, because all of a sudden you're going to, again, we're measuring the number of outcomes no matter what they are. 3 buckets. I'll reiterate what I asked him earlier. I've asked David, my inside sales agent sitting in the Philippines, to get me one of 3 outcomes. You book me an appointment wherever there is one with expireds or probates over the phone, but preferably face-to-face. If it's there, go get it. Mm-hmm. The second piece is, if there's not, you create a prospect like we just did in the live role play there. You create that prospect for follow-up where we can go and give them another gift until they finally break and they allow us to start to have some relationship. We got to break in there for that relationship. Or lastly, get them out of my database. Get me some real no's. I'm not going to say 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 no's. That's not what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, find out what the real no is where you are certain, or at least a high level of certainty, that there is no chance for a prospect. Right? So, Patrick, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yep.
Do we have Sam?
Sam, are you there? Can you hear us?
Sam?
Hello? Sam.
Check. Sam? I just saw a line, one line. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We're probably having technical difficulties. She's a VA, so it's something to do with, probably some kind of line connection. So maybe, we'll do it next week.
Okay. All right. Grab me somebody from your team. Somebody in Seattle on the Cantu team. Step up here.
Yeah, jump in.
He's gonna brand you if you don't step up right now.
Okay.
I have a Leanne Scott. I have an Andrew Snow. Those are names I don't recognize. Are they on your team?
Oh yeah, those guys are all on my team.
Guys, Andrew, Leanne.
This is Andy.
Oh, thank you, Andy. My goodness gracious. I thought you were being held hostage.
Branded yet.
Come on, dude. Let's go. So you can.
So,
Yep, go ahead.
I'm brand new.
Yeah.
He's getting his license. Yeah,
I'm
Yep.
getting my license.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're
So,
gonna.
so this is all new to me. I've been on a couple of calls now, and I'm learning quite a bit, and I really appreciate that.
Cool.
I guess if I have a question, it would be the getting over the rookie perception.
Excellent. Yeah,
of
that's.
potential clients.
Yeah, come on in with that. That actually came up on Campfire yesterday in the Q&A. It comes up a lot. It's actually probably
I caught a bit of that.
Yeah. It's actually the number one problem, isn't it? So you tell me from your perception what you're worried about. Is it the perception? Well, first of all, that's a loaded question I was about to ask, okay? You tell me a little bit more in depth what you're worried about, then let me broach it.
I guess it would be just people's perception of why would I go with someone who is brand new to real estate? Because obviously, when I start, I'm going to be sending out notification and communications to my sphere of influence to say, I'm now in real estate. I'm really excited about it. I'm partnered with this great boutique firm.
Yep.
I'm cribbing on what was said yesterday. They run their office and their business in a family-centric way, which is what really appealed to me.
Yep.
That's how I like to be treated. That's how I want to treat my clients.
Yep.
But then, so that's a sales, that's an introduction of why I chose to go with this firm.
Right.
But then the next step is in their decision-making process. Well, you're brand new. You've never sold anything. You've never put a buyer into a new home.
Yep.
Why would I risk going with you?
Yep. Great. Awesome. And again, Patrick, lean in on this, and any of the managers or team leaders I have on the call today, you lean in on this, is that you made a strategic decision to join this boutique company called Cantu Group. Because of why? And reality, I mean, you don't, and again, I know Angela, I think you're on here too. She's joined Gail Rossetti's boutique firm, right? So this is the same thing that has come up. And then I think, who was it yesterday? With a B. Who was it? Bridget. Thank you. So Bridget asked the same thing. So there's 3 people now wondering the same thing. So the first thing to recognize, and this is why a lot of people, when they're making a decision to come to a brokerage, they have to understand, why am I actually doing that, right? And like the industrialized chicken that most human beings are, what's the split? What's the split? What's the split, right? It's just absurd. I'm not saying that the split is not an important part of joining a boutique or a big company. Of course it is. But what's more important is, why am I going to this place as a rookie? Because when I walk through the door as a rookie, in exchange for the piece that I pay the company, what do I get in return that leverages me to sell more and better when I'm at this place versus that? See what I'm saying? See, like, we're no different. We are the consumer as the agent making that choice. So let me make the case for Cantu, Rossetti, Lang, everybody else, Turner, everybody else that's here. Let me make the case to all the salespeople that are on the call. You're joining us in this group. Look at what you're doing today. You're sitting with me, their coach, on a training call. Why? Because we understand that you better be prepared strategically to win as a rookie, let alone us as veterans. So the word that I'll wrap this around is strategic. When somebody works on their business, they spend time asking these types of questions and getting an answer that's organized, that they can leverage and they can take to deal with that objection. Now, you're not a life rookie, like I said to Angela, like I said to Bridget, Andy, you are not a rookie in life. So in life, the way that we survive is by being what? Excuse me one second. I just got to plug something in. Give me the answer. Somebody, in life, we survive by being what?
Resilient.
Keep going. Resourceful. The answer is resourceful, right? If you get lost in the woods and you've never gone to Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, you need to be pretty darn resourceful to survive. So let's pretend that rookies in the real estate agency business are dropped in the woods to survive. And all the veterans on the call, right? I mean, I have a lot of smart business people that have other businesses that I coach that are trying to get this one up and going. So what you have to do, and Kerrigan, you'll appreciate this because I know you're on here as a Marine who's been in a foxhole, for crying out loud. These guys have to be resourceful when life or death is there. Now let's pretend it's your financial life or death. So when you get an objection, the most important thing to do is survive. Kick and scream, right? Say, well, wait a minute. I know I'm a rookie, but I'm resourceful. And by the way, I've got a partnership with Cantu Group. I can call Paul Cantu at the end of this dial. This guy's knocked out more listings than anybody has in the last 30 days. And I have this unbelievable general manager. So I have 2 partners. So I'm talking to you as the point person, right? I'm on point, but what we need beyond that is like, we just need a chance. So give us a chance to come in as a partnership. So early on, until you can get your own wings, you will rely on that thing that you said yes to for a reason. Now, Patrick and I are here pounding away saying, look, and you'll see the common theme, whether you're prospecting on the phone or you're actually in the field with people. We make it easy to be strategic. We say, look, guys and gals, there's 2 formal ways to discuss the business, buying and selling. There's an infographic, 1 page, that is your strategy. And rudimentarily speaking, Andy, you can use that as a cheat sheet and just say, look, I'll do it right now. Every time I do the sales training call, they're sitting right next to me. So I have my 6-point buyer plan, because even as an expert, I might get sucked into the human element of making relationship and forgetting that I better be disciplined to get an outcome. So you say, look, Andy, I understand what you're saying. Okay, I am a rookie in this, but I'm not a life rookie and I'm not a business rookie. In fact, I made a very smart strategic choice by joining Cantu Group, because they follow some strategies to help buyers get the best deal. And so the first thing that I would tell you, and I go right into it, Andy, right through the stop sign, because what they're looking for is a different context than the one they labeled you with. And if you don't fight for that, you're dead. Because their label on you sticks. You say, whoa, wait, I appreciate that. Appreciate where you're coming from. But just so you know, I'm a very resourceful person who made a very strategic choice to bring myself to Cantu Group, where these guys are expert at strategies for buyers and sellers. In fact, on the buy side, the first thing that we often talk to you about is representation. That you have to understand that we represent as a team your best interest. So we can call upon that. And then what we do is we line you up with our strategist on the finance side, unless of course you're paying cash, because we want to be prepared financially before we ever even go out there looking at the features of the property, which is the next stage, to make sure the money and the features are lining up. Then ultimately, we like to get you offline, take a look at your few favorites in the beginning, refine it, because Seattle's a competitive market and we need to be prepared. But ultimately, what we do unique here, and I've already learned how to do this as a rookie that most veteran agents will never know how to do, and that's how to determine the true trading range for a property, so that I'm already prepared for negotiation before it ever happens. And then ultimately, we have a closing department that helps me cross the T's and dot the I's so I can stay focused on you and your move. Bang! I'm out of there. Right? I'm out of there. And you can do that as a...
Hey, Johnny, can I add something?
Yeah, Johnny, go ahead.
Yeah. I just wanted to kind of chunk it up. I mean, it's great to start off with, all of these choices where you go to choose to be, which is, to me, it's features.
Yep.
But what you, Danny, just went straight into is benefits. So it's really important to internalize the benefits that you offer to someone and to really believe them and to be confident and, forget it. If you're going out into the future, and that doesn't diminish your ability to be successful with your clients.
Okay, go a little bit deeper, because sometimes when it comes to the differentiation of features and benefits, I think it gets overdone. That's my opinion, okay? And I worry about that it starts to be too scripted and we worry about it. So you tell me your definition of what you heard for benefits and features and what order you think they belong, because you're right, that's what we're doing. We're discussing what it is that we have for them. Okay, the feature benefit thing for me, I get up in my head on thinking, well, am I supposed to do it in this order or that? I don't love that, but go ahead, I'm open-minded. So tell me what you see as a differentiation.
Well, my distinction is when something has a benefit, you don't have to argue its actual value.
Yep.
But features are often put on as these kind of, you're solving a problem that doesn't actually exist. Like this whole new iPhone that has, facial recognition technology.
Yeah.
As a freaking feature that has not solved a problem.
Got it.
But they're selling it as if it's some benefit.
Got it.
Okay.
Agreed. So the feature here, then to keep in line with what John's saying, because it's a very good point, by the way. He's always got some heady insight here. I think the feature here, which gets into this whole concept of selling proposition. That's why I like this book, Fanatical Prospecting, because he doesn't get into this big heavy weighting on unique selling proposition. Well, you got to have a unique selling proposition. Baloney. That's how everything goes sideways. What you need to do is explain why you. And you just gave that to me in the context of a rookie. Why you? Why do I have to do this? What's unique is what's obvious. We take a strategic approach. That's a feature. Well, what do you mean a strategic approach? Well, let me tell you about what the benefits are of a strategic approach. We put things in the buying and selling process in the right order so that not only do you have the best experience, but you get the best bang for the buck. So to keep it in John's context, I would say the feature that we offer that's different is strategy. The benefit is that gets them the best deal or nets them the most amount of money, because it's organized and it's detailed. So I hope that helps what he was just saying there, Andy.
Yes, it does.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Good work, boys, both of you. All right, who's up next with a comment? John, I think your mic's still hot. If you can mute it for me, that'd be awesome. Thank you, buddy. Patrick.
Using a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, cool. Patrick, come on in. Talk to that a little bit. That was, that's a very real, problem. Leanne, are you there too?
Well, I think.
Hold on.
I think one thing that we'll definitely
Hold
do,
on.
at the office meeting
Patrick,
today
hold on.
and really start.
Patrick, hold on. Leanne,
Can you hear me?
got you now.
Yep.
Perfect. Before Patrick and I comment on that, give me your status as your history with your license. Are you also new?
I am new. I have a license in hand, but been licensed for about a month, so I feel pretty brand new. So I definitely was listening to the rookie conversation.
Yeah, and the reason I want to bring you in, I don't want you to miss out having a voice of expressing, your fears or your concerns about that. Did we broach the subject in depth enough? Number one, and number two is specifically what worries you?
What worries me is what people might ask me.
Yep.
And I think that the response was fantastic because it gives me a reasoned reply. And that is exactly why I chose Country Realty is, excuse me, is it was going to have hands-on benefits for me.
Yeah.
So if I can just relate that to my buyer or my seller, the owner is a phone call away. So that's way more experience than Agent X at another larger realty in my, and I have access to that.
Perfect.
So me having something in my hip pocket that I can pull out and respond gives me a lot of peace. And I'll be able to, go face to face knowing I have something to respond with, I think.
Absolutely. And I think if you look at, here's what I think for all rookies and veterans need to look, I'll tell you, I think, to tell you truthfully, Ian, I think you have an advantage over us. Here's why. If you can learn this early on in your career, I wish I had. I wish that somebody had really chunked this up. I use that term a lot, and Jonathan just used it. You got to chunk this up so that you keep yourself inside the guardrails, right? Because the consumer they don't want complicated. Yes, you will get some questions that probably eventually will seem very rudimentary, and in the beginning they feel very complex. I think if you just take a breath and say, you know what, I don't know, that's a good question, let me get the answer to it. I'll call my partner, right? I mean, you always have that parachute of partnership and management partnership with, in your case, with both Patrick and Paul if you need them, right? To be able to lean back, or the team. You guys have a lot of good people at Cantu Group. Pick up the phone a friend, right? So, but as far as your own preparation, there are myriad things you will probably never even know about this business. I've been doing it for 19 years and coaching it for 10. I'll tell you that I have learning moments almost every day. I have refinement moments every day. You don't know what you don't know because those are your blind spots. But I think what happens is if you'll just sit still and learn some core principles of how you take a buyer through the process and how you take a seller through the process, those core principles, like a fifth grader can explain them. And then what happens with the expert, it's sort of like martial arts. You're just going deeper into the same craft. Your distinctions are getting more finite. But if you can articulate the very core principle with enthusiasm, and you become believable, and if you run out of tarmac, like I say, the plane runs out of tarmac, better call Patrick. That's it. Really, and I'm not a patronizing guy. I would train anybody that way. I would retrain myself that way. Stop talking so much when you go in a house, Danny. Stick to the 7-point strategy. Make sure they're clear that that's your differentiation point, okay? I follow a strategy every time. In fact, I defend it now, Leanne. So when I get a seller who doesn't sit still with me and listen to the full-blown presentation, I always have a problem with them. Because the first thing that they do is impose upon me their perceptive plan. They think the business works a certain way, and they impose it upon me. And that's why I say, stop, we need a meeting. Let's go back and reiterate this, because you're asking me about the newspaper. To me, the newspaper died years ago in my strategic approach. Doesn't mean it doesn't work, but it means this. And that's where it fits into marketing. Here's what I do. Right? This is specifically what I do. Now, look, if you're going to keep pounding me about the newspaper, I'll come and pull my sign out today because that's not my strategic approach that has led me to a successful result. I mean, I am that defensive of my strategy because I actually know that without it, I'm just begging for a problem. Now, I'm not saying that you're at that level of certainty or luxury that I can pick and choose who's working with me. I'm not saying that. I would say cut your teeth on everybody when you're a rookie. But understand that the sooner that you can have that confidence that a good strategy is what works, and you can express that with enthusiasm, you'll probably be shocked at how powerful it is, even when you're up against a veteran. Because a veteran, the first thing that they will do is they'll roll their resume out. Well, I've done all this. You know what I would say? You're right. I can't compete with Danny's resume, but I do have a pretty darn good strategy. And since you're my only client because I'm brand new, you're going to get all my attention. You're certainly not going to get all of Danny's, right? That's the converse if you're competing against me, right? Yes? Yes? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen.
So yeah, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, I think it's a good time for, especially because we have newer people on, is just maybe I'll be printing out some of our bio infographics, which includes our 6-point strategic plan. So that is something I think will really help you guys to be able to sort of vocalize what does make you stand out among other buyers agents out in the real estate world here in Seattle. So I follow a strategic plan. That's really what sets us ahead of all the competition, and I can break this down for you really easily. There's 6 steps to this buyer process, and here's how it goes, and boom, 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 you go through the whole thing.
That's right.
So I think that's going to be really helpful, and we'll go over that with all you guys today.
Yeah, I think that's critical. In fact, I'd even keep it in Jonathan's context. The feature that Cantu Group offers is a clear strata of features. The 2 core features that they offer that are different is a strategic approach to selling a property and a strategic approach to helping you buy one. The benefits are that you will get the right property at the best number you can, and you will get as much money in your pocket as you can. If you want to chunk it all up, there's really what it is. Now, of course, there's much more discussion that's needed, Patrick, right? I mean, we need to be able to handle objections in that context, but actually,
we need to get to the point where we're actually having this conversation in the first place.
That's right. That's right. And by the way, prospecting on the phone, like we practiced for 40 minutes today, prospecting on the phone is a great way to have to fight for that survival in the foxhole, right?
Yeah.
All right, final thoughts, questions? Anybody?
Good work.
Okay. All right, everybody. Listen, appreciate you. Thanks for being here today. Very good work. Thanks to the Cantu team, and in particular, Andy and Leanne and Patrick, Jonathan for the color that he added there, and then, of course, David, who got to get pounded on and pounded on me. We had fun doing that today. Go out and use this stuff. Come back here next week and tell me what worked, what didn't work, and how'd you feel about it, all right? See you then. Have a great weekend. Be profitable.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Great call.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody online. Thank you. See you, buddy. GVD. Go out and get it done. Eddie Dominguez.